Hi everyone. We're just oh, you want to go, Cassandra?
First, I was going to give it a few more minutes to get started.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, I see everybody's rolling in now. Let's give it another minute before we start. All right, why don't we go ahead and get this kicked off. Thank you everyone for joining, and welcome to the Lego Your Data with CDW, Commvault, and NetApp. I'm Matt Pollock. I'm the Business Development Manager for NetApp at CDW Canada. In the spirit of Lego, CDW works with the best building blocks in the industry. Two of those blocks are Commvault and NetApp. Paired with CDW services, we can help you connect them in ways that best support your business. Today, our presenter, Eric Nelson, will give you the Better Together story with Commvault and NetApp. And the idea of the session is to quickly learn about how Commvault and NetApp work together and drive further conversations afterwards. We don't want to bore you with all of the details. We want the story to be interactive, so you'll see a few questions in the chat during Eric's presentation, so feel free to engage with us. I know your kids will want to get right to the Legos, so after that presentation, we'll jump into the Lego building class. And after the event, we'll ask you to reach out to your CDW rep or myself to schedule a follow-up call on our Better Together story. And the first 15 meetings that we have will receive a $100 Gusto gift card. The Gusto gift card allows you to redeem it at any number of merchants, Amazon, restaurants, so that you and your team can have a lunch or a prize. So we appreciate your engagement there. Why don't we kick it off? I'll send it over to Eric to introduce himself and give you the Better Together story.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it today. The first thing that I want to talk about is a little background on me. I am a solutions director for the NetApp and Commvault relationship globally. And I support all of our partners and everybody from the resellers to OEMs to NetApp to all kinds of issues, all kinds of our partners within Commvault itself. I've been here for about 7 years. Before that, I was with what used to be Foresight for 11 years in the consulting role, all around data and everything consulting around data and what we need to do to modernize our environments. One thing that I want to kind of kick off with is a little bit of a dad joke, if you will. And since all the kids are around, this is something they can take with them, and it's very relevant to our conversation today. And it's really, what does a baby computer call his father? Anyone? Data. So bad. I know it's so bad. But anyone who is listening, it's just kind of fun to go with that. So let me jump into our presentation today and talk a little bit about really our relationship that we've had for, I think it's over 15 years with NetApp, and how we've been developing our solutions to really work with NetApp to enable our customers to address their business needs around data and how we choose to solve those problems going forward. Within the recent years, as we know, within COVID times, we've really accelerated our understanding of how we get to the cloud, how we leverage the cloud, how we, really get to that hybrid environment, and it's really pushing forward as fast as we can. A lot of things that go on. We'll talk a little bit today about focus on risk reduction and security, especially. So let me pull that up. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay. So today I'd like to start with just really around that joint commitment that we have together. And the most important thing is that when we're partnering with NetApp together, it's been, as I said before, 15 years, really harnessing our joint integration. And the reality of the situation between us and NetApp is that with NetApp, we have the most integrations with NetApp overall from all of our alliance partners. And when I say alliance partners, it really means around hardware partners in total. It's very important to note that because we have dedicated resources to that development month in and month out to make sure that we have these integrations that help to do things like risk reduction and security, help to talk about cost reduction, consolidation, understanding hardware, software issues, and things of that nature, driving operational efficiencies. And what do I mean by that? Really integrating with our service desks, understanding how machine learning and artificial intelligence can help us to continue to improve upon that. Then ultimately driving what we call enterprise agility. And what do I mean by that? When I'm talking about enterprise agility, I'm talking about our ability as IT folks to really drive business forward, make important business decisions with our reporting, make important decisions around capacity management, and then also just really take time to understand exactly what we have in our environment, providing that awareness of your data, knowing how to respond to potential threats, and being able to take action. Some of the things that we're really working on today with our joint offerings is really around cyber resiliency. We're looking into a lot of the FlexPod protection and cyber recovery for FlexPods. We're also looking into offering what we have on the plate today from a Metallic perspective. And I'll get into that a little bit later, but Metallic is really our software as a service offering, which customers are really loving today because they can adapt that when they want, whenever they want, how they want, and really allows them to have better options, if you will, from simplicity perspective and deployment and flexibility, and really adapt to grow with your within the data intelligence that we're providing you. So as you can see here on the right hand side, we've had a multi-year commitment to our partnership, and we're continuing to drive that forward. Now, we know that our customers have options. We understand that there are a bunch of competitors in this space. We understand that they have many offerings that we can put together and piecemeal solutions together from our offerings from Veritas, Dell, Cohesity, Rubrik, Veeam, whoever X, Y, and Z it is. But we've been in the business for over 25 years now, and really driving and focusing software application to help our customers with backup recovery and really understand how we address situations where we're meeting our customer SLAs as well as our RTOs and RPOs. IDC is talking a lot about by the end of 2021 that most enterprises will be shifting to a cloud-centric infrastructure. That is happening today. It's not even 2020. 2021 is over and we're already accelerated past that. All of these folks are already into what we'll call cloud environments or hybrid cloud environments. And they were accelerated through that from COVID because we need to understand exactly how important it was for our infrastructures to be managed outside of our environments and also to be protected outside of our environments. Executives are looking at all of you to understand exactly how we can address these issues when it comes to an integrated platform, to a consolidated environment, understanding exactly how we can leverage things like artificial intelligence or machine learning to alert us of issues in the environment. And before we are faced with things like ransomware attacks, malware attacks, or if we're just facing someone who might be an internal threat, if you will, and really eliminate a lot of those heavy infrastructure costs and the sprawl that we see every day, and spending for additional functionality, or really understanding how we don't lock ourselves into an overall vendor lock-in situation, so that we can continue to move our business forward and ultimately move on a dime and allow ourselves to have those options going forward. We want to make sure that everything accommodates our customers like you guys, joint customers together, so that we can have the agility to build out things in the cloud, understand how we govern and change and adapt to change in requirements from a government perspective. Look at things like supply chain issues or pandemic impacts, which is what we're dealing with today. And then ultimately that remote workforce needs. That's a really big thing on our plate right now, and that's where Metallic comes into play and help to integrate with all of this stuff. Ultimately, we want to make sure that we're addressing the needs of our customers, especially you guys who are accelerating growth to 20, 30, 40, 50% on a yearly basis, making sure that we're taking a look at those things and making sure that we're addressing those issues as needed. So now, as far as what we need to take a look at in the environment, right, and what decision makers and what you guys are looking at today, we are listening to our customers. And what we understand is really that we need a highly reliable environment, and that we need a flexible environment. We need someone to sit there and drive innovation, really talking about how we automate and orchestrate IT to meet the scale, and to meet the agility requirements that we need to make sure that we meet our SLAs and continue to provide our customers with the best service available today. And that means that we need to also drive innovation not only on premise, but also in cloud, right? In hybrid cloud scenarios, whether you have private cloud or hybrid cloud scenarios, whatever it may be, we want to make sure that we're addressing those needs with our customers and your customers, and continuously driving what we can see from a improvement perspective. Data insights, the analytics that we provide, the analytics that we put forth are really driving our customers to help make valid business decisions going forward. We want to make sure that you're able to do things like capacity management. We want to make sure that you're able to do things like driving important business decisions that are going to make you money going forward. How we understand possible billing systems, how we understand the data behind that, what is the trend within our environments that is helping us to continuously improve our bottom line. And then ultimately, we just want to make it simple. We got to make it simple. We got to be able to immediately respond to the security breaches that we have today. We need to automatically know how to respond to that and then act immediately. Get all of our customers and prospects and businesses out of that realm of reacting to threats in our environment. Now, how do we do that? What we call this is really the data integrity gap. And from this, what we want to derive is really how we continue to help our customers proactively respond to situations, respond to difficult situations from a security threat perspective, and then ultimately understand where you guys are at, and then fill those gaps with our platform. Fill those gaps with our platform, understanding whether it be backup recovery, whether it be disaster recovery, whether it be something of a storage and file optimization perspective, understanding what you're dealing with from a security governance perspective, and really be able to provide solutions in that space. And then ultimately reduce the amount of time that you have to respond to it. Now, if we come together with NetApp, and the biggest solution here and the biggest understanding that we have is that with all of our integrations with everything that we have on the NetApp side from a NetApp data fabric perspective, we can cover all of those aspects, whether it be a source or a target. We're taking a look at how we leverage mutable backups, snapshots, media, mutable cloud, long-term retention, air gap solutions from NetApp's perspective, and how do we fit that into our platform? And our platform is in the middle there, where we're talking about file storage optimization, talking about data governance, e-discovery compliance, and then the core of our solution, which has been here for 25 plus years, backup recovery and disaster recovery. We want to make sure that it's easy to manage, easy to deploy, easy to get up to speed, easy to make sure that we can cover our, provide the protection and insurance that we need to our customers. And then ultimately expand upon that to understand how we incorporate the data security, and we start transforming our data into insights that we can use to drive our business and drive investments in our business so that we can continue to cover things like data compliance and governance, data management protection overall. I'm curious, does anybody have any questions on the board here, or anything that you guys want me to address? Please feel free to jump in at any time and throw some things out there if you have any questions that are on your mind. So what we've been doing over the past few years is transforming our business really to listen to our customers. And this quadrant up here, if we take a look at this on the left-hand side, we're looking at really the transforming our business perspective from a strategic aspect, from lowering the cost savings to being higher in the risk reduction area. And on the bottom, when we're talking about cost savings and operational efficiency, we're talking about more of a tactical issue. So the way that we talk to our customers today together with NetApp is really around understanding how we help our customers, number one, with cost savings. That's always an issue. It's always something we want to talk about. It's always something that's top of mind that we can address. Really helping to lower the cost of infrastructure of our solutions together, as well as really lower the cost of hardware and software together, and consolidating multiple tool sets, if you will, that will help us to increase those cost savings. And that's just it's a very rudimentary thing. It's something that we all need to do, something we all need to talk to our vendors about, and it's just part of everyday life. But if we take a look at the things around risk reduction, we move a little bit more up in the strategic area, and that's really about how we look at things from a ransomware protection or recovery perspective. It's about how we can reduce our liability when it comes to things like e-discovery and compliance, making sure that we can protect ourselves from those issues, right? Making sure that we can really drive the ability to protect ourselves against those things, because we don't want to be up at night for that. Those are just things that are top of mind all the time, and we're always getting attacked. We're always getting X, Y, and Z, whether it be from a edge perspective with all of your remote workers, or from an internal perspective. You never know where the threats are going to come from these days, and we always need to keep an eye on it. The operational efficiency piece is where we look at this from a artificial intelligence, machine learning perspective, understanding how we can really build out alerts, notifications, understanding how we can integrate this with our service management platforms, as well as any kind of help desk platforms that we have. Ultimately driving that data agility so that we can do things like hybrid cloud, helping to migrate to those cloud environments, helping to migrate between those cloud environments, helping to drive the reporting that we need in order for us to have a very agile environment and continue to move those parts forward, driving the innovation that we need. Now, we've been in the Magic Quadrant for probably over 10 years now, top of the key. Together, what we're driving together within us and NetApp from the use case environment, We've always had the highest scores and continue to go that forward. So we'll provide these slides back to you guys so you can understand, how we are the leader within those environments and how we, Gartner looks at us. It's just a matter of showing that we are dedicated to really driving these use cases and continuing to keep up with the market. Now, what I want to talk about right now is really the case and kind of wrap up here. It's really around how we provide joint incomes to our customers. The power of Commvault and NetApp together is really around reducing your risk and threat exposure, providing that simple data management cohesion, reducing the complexity, increasing flexibility. That comes with our new latest and greatest command center, which we can just really drive business and simplicity around getting things up and running quickly. The integrations are there. It's the click of a button. It's very easy to maintain, and it's very easy to build upon. We want to put them upon plans, understanding our SLAs and RTOs and RPOs, and making sure that we have the right fit for all of our customers. We're just looking to making sure that we improve upon those performance and data insights so that you guys can really take a look at that and provide the data back to the business as they need it, and then ultimately reducing the cost, reducing some of those multi-point complexities. We just literally want to give you simplicity, the flexibility to grow as you want to grow, and the flexibility for us to grow with you whenever we need to, and simply reducing operational costs of an overall, what I'll call, and I hate to call it this since a lot of people are not happy with me, but it's an insurance policy. These are the things that we need to do. We need to reduce those operational costs, and that's what it's really all about. Reducing the cost of that insurance policy so that we know that we're safe, knowing that we're not going to get the call in the middle of the night that something has happened, and also being able to immediately respond to those things. So it's very important to us to help our customers get to that level, because we don't want to hear that either. We don't want to hear that in the middle of the night that their customers are having problems or any issues that hit them. Disasters are just that. They're disasters, and we want to make sure that we can help avoid that. So that's all I had today. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an overview of where we're at and working with NetApp and Commvault. Really, what we'd like to do is provide some feedback forms in the questionnaire, and if the polling that comes out, we'd love to schedule a discovery call with you from our joint opportunities within NetApp and Commvault and CDW, and make sure that we can help to explore those possibilities together and really help you guys figure out within those realms of cost reduction, risk reduction, operational efficiency, and then ultimately that enterprise agility, if you will, to help you understand how we can get you there, and how working with CDW, Commvault, and NetApp, we can truly do some consulting and get you along that path in the right way, and make your life easier overall. This last slide is really around, this is just wide open, kind of a Commvault message map and NetApp message map that allows us to understand what we're trying to identify for our customers, and see what's on top of your mind, as well as help you guys understand where you would fit into this, and help you move forward from a business perspective and addressing your business needs. So that's all I have today, but thank you guys, and get out of the way, and you guys can get to some Lego building and enjoy that time.
That's great. Thanks, Eric. That's awesome. I really like that last slide, and for everyone, NetApp's Lego blocks look like they fit very well with Commvault's Lego blocks, and I think that CDW can really piece those pieces together and help you with our architects and sales teams. They'll be able to help you with finding the solution that fits your needs. If you want, Eric, if you want to throw your contact information in the chat, I'll throw mine in the chat as well. Everyone, feel free to reach out to us with any questions. And like I said, at the end, we'll be looking for the first 15 meetings that we can book to just go over this whole story and maybe explain that last slide to everyone, because we don't want to do it here. and we will jump over to the Lego build.
So I'll just pass it over to Kaz, who will be our Lego instructor today. Hi, Kaz.
Hello there. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, now it's time to have a little bit of fun with the boxes of bricks that you've been given. I do hope you'll find it an enjoyable session. No pressure, you know, just have fun, as I said. And I believe you've all got the same brick box, and I've got one of these as well. Got the instructions there. The instructions are a bit dull though, so what we're going to do is do some free building instead. And half an hour, I would like you to build the best robot that you can manage from your bricks. Now, in the grand tradition of these things, here's one I've just made. I don't know if you can see that there, but I like tea. I'm very fond of tea. So this is a little tea butler robot, and he's got a cake there, somebody's birthday perhaps, a teacup and a teapot. And basically I've just made it from the pieces that were in that little brick box. So if you'd like to do something similar, it can be a robot that's a utilitarian like this one, or if you fancy something, maybe a companion to keep you occupied and have fun with. And let's see what we can do in half an hour. Now I'm going to be perhaps having a look at what you're doing, and also giving you some suggestions, hopefully. If you've got any questions, then please ask. I'd encourage you to chat amongst yourselves as well as ask me questions if that's what you'd like to do. Otherwise, I shall just be telling you a few facts and figures. So hopefully we can get on now. And as I say, you've got half an hour to do that. I would love it if you could show me what you're building as well, possibly while you're going, or certainly towards the end. So I don't know if I can have a view of everybody, but I seem to be locked on Cassandra's view at the moment. So it'd be nice to see everybody. If you've got questions, as I say, put them in the chat. There we go. And please do turn your cameras on if you want to have a little chat. Now, Lego do make various robot kits that you can build from. One or two examples here. This is a very famous robot. I'm sure you all know this one, R2-D2. Not very big, but sort of 100 or so pieces in that one, and that's quite fun. He will shuffle along the desk or just sit there and keep you company. Now, don't worry too much about the pieces that you have, the colours of the pieces that you've got in your kits, because obviously they're not going to be something that you could make R2-D2 out of. But as I say, what I've done here is tried to keep things quite symmetrical and make sure hello there, people waving, hi, get building, tear those bags open, spread everything around, and hope you're having fun with that. So there we go. So I've tried to find the same pieces for the arms, so each arm looks the same. A little bit of coherence there. He's got enormously long feet, a bit like a clown, but I figured if he's carrying some heavy things at the front, he's going to need long feet to stop him falling over. So that's my little robot butler. If any of you, obviously some of the younger people in the room have probably played with Lego before. Otherwise, how about the older folks amongst you? When was the last time you opened a bag of bricks? As you may see, this is my little Lego cave here, with various bits and pieces in the background. This is a real background. It's not one of those made up. There we go. Unfortunately, my little train there doesn't have batteries in it at the moment, so I can't do the remote control driving that round, but it's great fun to be able to play with that when I've got some batteries going. So you may not know much about the Lego group itself, even though you may have played with these familiar looking bricks many a time in your childhoods. I certainly did when I was young. I loved playing with Lego, and it was a real sort of creative thing to do. Just get a big box of bricks, and with my friends from next door, they'd come around and we'd sort of make it ridiculous contraptions out of all the bricks that we got. I think some of those they weren't exactly robots, but they were things like make a vehicle that's got a really long, thin wheelbase, as tall as possible. Terribly unstable, but the idea then was to race them down the living room carpet and see which one fell apart first, and quite often it would be mine, but it was great fun, and we really enjoyed doing that, the contraptions game. So the Lego group has been around since the 1930s. They first started making a wooden duck, believe it or not, wooden toys in the 30s, and then in the 40s and 50s, the chap called Ole Kirk Christensen, a Danish man who ran the company, decided to venture out into what were known as automatic binding bricks. Now, this is a very old piece of Lego here. It might look quite familiar, but two differences. It's got a slot in that short side, which you probably can't see very well because my camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. There's a little slot there, and there's no tubes underneath. So you're familiar with this one, I'm sure. That's a modern Lego brick, and there we are. That's an old one. Yep, there we go. Someone's showing me a couple. Now, this old one will fit on top of the new one quite easily. It doesn't stick very well because the reason those tubes were introduced under there is to help things stick together. But if you put the modern one on top of the old one, then that does stick quite well. So even if you've got really old bricks from maybe your mum and dad or your grandparents or even your great-grandparents, they should work with today's modern pieces. So in 1958, the Lego group patented what's known as this the familiar Lego brick. I've got one here. There's a copy of the patent. I haven't yet got round to hanging on the wall. And those tubes underneath meant that there was much more what's known as clutch. Now, what happens when kids are building, obviously they want things to stick together so that they can build something and it doesn't fall apart while they're wanting them to stay together. But it does have to be in a kind of a balance, in that when you do want to take them apart, they're not really tricky to get apart. So that clutch power, as it's known, and this is my collection of 2x4 bricks in lots of different colours. Clutch power is really important, and it's one of the things that Lego measure quite carefully when they're making the bricks. And you'll find that several, every now and then in a big batch of bricks, some will be rejected for not being to the right tolerance, and that's, believe it or not, 2/1000th of a millimetre that we need to have the tolerance right to, which is quite incredible really for a children's toy. Now, I'm a great fan of proper official Lego bricks, Lego pieces. Obviously other building blocks are available, but quite often they don't stick together as well, or they stick together too well, because they don't have quite the quality control that Lego go to. And so that while they may work, and if you're on a budget, then that's certainly a thing to look for perhaps. They're not as reliable for as long as genuine Lego pieces. So in your box of bricks,
agony is when two flat pieces stick together.
I'm about to show you what to do with those problems. Now, I don't know whether you have got one in this box. I can't remember whether you get one in this box or not, but anybody that buys a Lego set that's more than about $30 odd will get one of these. Yeah, one or two folks waving them at me. Now, this is what Lego call human tool number 1, which is a really silly name for it. Basically, it's a brick separator. Now, when I first started as an adult playing with Lego again, building with Lego, I got one of these and I really didn't know what it was properly for. However, there are several really good things that you can do with this. When you've got big bricks like this and you've stacked them up, it's easy enough to pull them apart. And indeed, that's just fallen apart a bit on me, but no problem. It'll go back together again. There we are. However, as one of you've already said, if you've got tiny little plates like this, and either you or one of your little helpers has stacked them up, they're really tricky to get apart. You really can't get hold of them to maneuver. So if you've got one of these, it'll help. If you've got two of them, it'll help even more, because what you do is you put those three plates, they're known as, these thin ones, between the jaws, if you like. Hold this like this and then squeeze the back end, and you'll find that one or other of those plates will start coming apart. There we go. And let's do it again for this one. Squeeze, and there we are. Now that's much better for both the bricks and your fingers than trying to use your fingernails or indeed your teeth. Now please don't use your teeth, because it does hurt the bricks if you do that, and it can hurt your teeth too, but you'll certainly find, you know, if you go to a thrift store or something and buy some Lego that's been pre-owned, then quite a lot of it comes with lovely bite marks, which is not great. So the brick separator is your friend. Now you can also use it when you've got a plate like this in the middle of a bigger plate, and once again you just put that on top and squeeze the back, and there we go, that's come off. So that's an easy way to get plates apart. We've also got some tiles here. It's basically the same thickness. Oh, someone's showing me some lovely pink bricks there. Very good. I hope you're having fun with your robot building there, transparent robots. So these tiles, they do have a tiny little groove underneath that bottom edge, which you possibly can see. Sometimes if you've got a nail, you can get that underneath the little groove if it's on the edge of a plate, but if it's in the middle of a plate, it's a lot more difficult. And this is when I recommend using the blunt end, or is it the sharp end, of your brick separator, and literally that just goes underneath in that little groove and up it comes. So 2 more uses for your brick separator. The final one, you may be wondering what this bit's for, the bit on top. Now if you build any Lego Technic sets, they're a little bit different to the kind of bricks that we're using tonight. This is what's known as system, the stuff that we've got, and you know, the standard things with studs on top, little tubes underneath. Okay, they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but that's basically stacked on top of each other, and there we go. So when you build with Technic, it's usually when you're making things like motors or vehicles, and you have lots of gears and different cogs, etc. And a lot of these are held together with these axle pieces, which are like this, quite often longer than that. And sometimes you'll find that a Technic build has possibly got an axle that's kind of buried in amongst some other things like this, and you really need to get that axle out before you can start taking the rest of it apart. And so what you do is you get this end of the brick separator and literally just put it in that cross axle hole. You can get to it, push the axle out, and there we go, that's come out. So it's a really handy tool. Do keep it at hand if you've got some. So two are better than one if you can find a couple, but one is better than nothing, certainly for getting, you know, tiles off bigger pieces like this. So how are your robots coming along? Anybody want to show me what they've got so far? What are your robots going to do? Oh, now that's somebody there at Ash's camera. What have we got there? Oh, yeah. If you can unmute and you want to say anything, then please do. Lots of busy looking faces, which is really good.
Yes, for those of us that are the adults, or I guess we like to think we're the adults in the crowd, it may be too late for us to do something new for our careers, but for the kids out there, you know, how does someone like yourself get into this, and how did you end up doing this? Maybe you could share some of your story with us.
Well, to be honest, I only came back to Lego in 2017, so I was nearly 50 then, over 50 now, so it's never too late, I would say.
Awesome.
But I always enjoyed playing with Lego as a kid. I think it helped me a lot with kind of my spatial awareness and, you know, how things fitted together. I was always really good at 3D puzzles, that kind of thing. And actually I went on initially to my first career was as an engineer for the BBC, a broadcast engineer for the BBC. And lots of science and engineering folks seem to enjoy playing with bricks. Kind of, I don't know whether they've got the brain for it or people with that kind of brain like Lego. It's one of those either or things. But I didn't have any Lego for many years. You know, I did the usual things. Went away to college, got a degree, got a job, got a house, all that sort of adulting stuff. And then I think it was about 2012, I noticed there were things like the collectible minifigures were coming along. They're really good fun. See if I can find one or two of them to show you. Actually, this is one of the most recent collectible minifigure series. Is the good old Muppets. They've just been released. There's Kermit. I was actually told yesterday that Kermit is left-handed, which I didn't know, so he's playing his banjo the wrong way around. We have to get these sort of things right because people notice. There we go. So Kermit the Frog and his banjo, and there's lots of other little Muppets minifigs as well. So in 2010, I think they first started releasing minifigures, and I was doing a photographic project at that point where I was kind of, it's called In the Toy Box, and I was taking a photograph of a toy of some sort every day as a sort of, you know, challenge to myself. And so I started buying the odd minifigure, and then in 2012 I went to Florida to Kennedy Space Center with some good friends, and I saw not one but two space shuttles in the vehicle assembly building just before they'd decommissioned them completely. As I say, I've always been a space geek, so I loved space Lego when I was growing up. Go to Kennedy and see those two Atlantis and Endeavour in the vehicle assembly building was amazing. And we also went to Legoland on that trip, and there I noticed that there was available an enormous space shuttle made out of Lego that you could buy as a kit. So I thought, oh well, got to buy that as a memento of my trip. So I did, and brought it back to home in my suitcase with all the bags sort of stuffed in shoes and socks because the box was too big to bring home. And so I sort of continued buying odds and ends, but still not really thinking of myself as a Lego fan. And then in 2017, I went up to visit my partner who lives in the northeast of England. And we went to see an exhibition called The Little Landmarks by my partner's friend and now my friend, a chap called, who goes by the name online of Bricks McGee. This Bricks McGee, yes. It's his fault, basically, that I'm back into Lego. He'd built some Lego models of local buildings in South Shields in the northeast of England, and they were on display in his local library. And it was the first time I'd seen sort of models that an adult had built but weren't from instructions. They were like, oh my goodness, you can build things from your own imagination. And, you know, I'd done that as a child, obviously, but the odd set that I'd been buying myself as an adult were always, well, I buy the set and I make it up from the instructions, and that was it, really. So that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you could do what's known as mocking. Mock, M-O-C, is shorthand for my own creation in the Lego world. And so I started building all sorts of things. Quite a lot of the things I build now are micro-scale architecture, because I love architectural buildings. I almost thought about being an architect when I was growing up, but didn't go that way in the end. So, you know, I've sort of come back into the Lego sphere, as I say, in 2017, fairly recently. Well, and then I started running workshops for people, and you know, it's gone from there, really.
Yeah, well, from the looks of your backdrop, you've been busy since 2017, that's for sure.
Yeah, indeed I have, yes. And one of the things I did do, and shortly after I got back into the hobby, was join a local, what's known as Lego User Group, or LUG. Being close to London, I was working in London regularly at that point. So I joined the London AFOLs, that's Adult Fans of Lego, AFOL. And they're a great bunch of like-minded people who understand that the lure of the plastic brick. It's a bit bad, actually. Sometimes we egg each other on, and we really shouldn't, but you know, that's the way it goes. But they met once a month in a pub and built bricks and had a chat and had a beer and things like that. And that introduced me to kind of the show circuit and building things for displays, both here and abroad. And part of
so
the
Kaz, I have a quick question for you. This is Eric again, just jumping in. Do you have like communities of people that are like Lego masters that you connect with, or that are that these guys can connect with as well? I mean, I've been talked to.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, there's quite a community on good old school Flickr. If you search Flickr for Lego, you'll find a lot of stuff. There's also quite a thriving community of Lego fans on Instagram, which I've only got back into in the last 2 or 3 years, probably. I have had an account since about 2013, but I ignored it for about almost 10 years. Yeah, you know, the sort of, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm CAZMOCKETT. I'll put that in the chat.
Cool. And everybody needs to watch Lego Masters. Isn't that a show? The show.
It's the law, yes, indeed. Well, I was coming on to that kind of thing in my little sort of potted history, if you like. In 2017-18, the Lego Group opened something in Billund, which is the home of Lego, in the middle of nowhere in Denmark, called Lego House. And that's an amazing museum, if you like, to the Lego brick. It's called the Home of the Brick. It even looks like Lego pieces from the air, which is quite fun. And I visited in February 2019 and had an amazing kind of tour around there. Just sort of, you know, a self-guided tour. It was February. There was hardly anybody there. I pretty much had the place to myself. And being in the UK, I had the luxury of just going on a very long day trip rather than having to stay over. But I really enjoyed that. And then a few months after that, Richard, the guy that runs the London AFOL, said, oh, the people in Lego House are looking for potential new exhibits for the Lego House. Now, there are several different places that you can exhibit in the Lego House. There's little cupboards all around in the various zones, architecture zone and the nature zone, all this kind of thing, where they put on display stuff that's been built by adult fans and other people. And there's also somewhere called the Masterpiece Gallery, which is literally right at the top of the building, and the sort of the first amazing place that you visit when you first go into the whole show. And I put together a little album on Flickr of what I thought were my best microscale buildings. Didn't really think that much more of it, but I said to Richard, well, here you go. There's some of my images of my builds. And I didn't think anything more of it for ages. And then out of the blue, about 2 months later, I got an email inviting me to Denmark in the September after that, to basically put some of my work on show in the Masterpiece Gallery, which was an amazing honour, something I never really thought was possible or something that you could do. But that was about two years after I first come back to the hobby, so that was a pretty swift climb up the ladder, if you like. Yeah, my mocks were on display for 2 years. Due to COVID, the people that were due to go in 2020 couldn't do that, because part of the whole experience of displaying in the gallery is you get invited to Denmark on an expenses paid trip, and they treat you like royalty for a day or two, and you know, you get to put your own models in the gallery and set them up as you want them, because sometimes the airlines aren't particularly kind to your models, which have either come in your suitcase or been shipped prior. I actually decided not to risk it, and I drove myself to Denmark. It took 2.5 days each way, but it was an amazing trip. And so they couldn't do that in 2020. Our stuff stayed in there for another year, longer than normally. It's just 12 months. And then even this year, things got postponed. Sorry, the 2021 intake that should have been was postponed again. And the stuff that's in there currently is basically builds by Lego employees, but not all of them are Lego model kit designers. Sometimes they're a PA to one of the executives, or they work in the factory or something like that. But often these people are also Lego fans, so they're really keen about building their own models. And because they were all on hand locally, then they've gone into the gallery for the year up to this coming September. And finally, the people that should have gone in 2020 will be able to put their stuff in September 22. So that'll be a relief for everybody, I think. Yeah, it's a great honour, and as I say, something I never thought I'd be able to achieve, or didn't think you could achieve. So that was my sort of claim to fame. But since then, I've got quite into the various Lego communities, as I say, on Instagram, and there's all sorts of little, not competitions necessarily, but challenges that go on. One of the ones that's running currently is to build something called a minifigure habitat. So let me see if I can show you briefly before it goes. Here we are. So this is the glorious Miss Piggy minifigure, and this is what's called a habitat, built on an 8x8 square, and the little corners here are offset so that you can stack them up together. And on Instagram currently there's a little challenge running to build habitats to do anything to do with Disney, and of course the Muppets are part of the Disney franchise now, so I've been building various Muppet habitats, and for the whole series of minifigures, and that's something I really enjoy doing as well.
So Kaz, is that an original piece that you put together?
Yep.
or kit?
Yep. I mean, Miss Piggy basically the minifigure comes with that nice little tile that's on the wall that says Miss Piggy. Cool. And I've just basically added all of the other bits and pieces as part of the little scene cool. To give her her dressing room, all important pizza on the floor, as well as a bouquet and things like that.
Very fun.
Thank you. So let's we've only got a few minutes left. Let's have a look at what you've got. Who would like to show me the robot that they've built? Anybody want to? Oh, okay. So I've only got names here. They're probably for Mum or Dad. Danny, can we have a look at yours? I'm going to move you to a stage. Can we do that? There we go. Oh, wow. And what are these robots doing? Are you able to tell us what's going on?
This one is it's like a robot that like helps fixing stuff.
Uh-huh. That looks really good.
Yeah.
And you've got somebody else with on there? Okay, thank you. Oh. Does Asher have something to show us? No, not listening. Never mind. Tim and Henry, do you have something to show us? Oh, I'm not quite so used to this one.
Yeah, this is the first one that my dad made. He's serving tea.
Excellent.
And this is your garage.
And this is the garage he made for mine, but I'm not finished yet.
We'll keep building. You don't have to stop when we stop the call.
Then, yeah. And then you're show the start of yours.
This is the start of mine right now. I added in these arm pieces. And I'm adding in this head that you're going to be able to like twist around.
Excellent.
Just need to add.
That's great. Thank you. Anybody else? Chris, do you have something you'd like to show us?
You're on, buddy.
I'm not done yet, but I have a robot here, and it's not finished the head, but a crab. This crab is supposed to go in it.
Oh yeah, cool.
Its head twists like this.
I like the arms.
Oh, that looks very
Its
good.
arms spin. So if I did this here.
Oh, perfect.
I've
That
done
should be
robots
really useful.
before, so
Well done, thank you.
arms that model.
Jason, have you got a little helper there that you would like to show somebody?
Yes, me and my son, he built one of the one of the characters inside there, and then I helped him add some various arms and feet to it.
Very good. They see those long feet, they're useful, aren't they?
They are actually really useful.
Very stable.
Right, Spencer? Really useful. Yeah? He's building a car now, so he's moved on from the robot.
Oh, very nice, yeah. Is that a unicorn robot?
It is a unicorn robot. That's right. It's a unicorn operating the robot, basically. Right?
Oh, okay. So a unicorn's neck then, if you like.
Yeah, that's right.
Very cool. Thank you. Anybody else?
I think Chris popped on there. I'm not sure if they're trying to share. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Chris. What have you got? Oh, very nice. You able to tell us what they are? What they're doing? One looks a little bit like a bird. No, I think you're still on mute there. Never mind. They look really cool. Thank you for taking part. Anyone else? No, one or two perhaps. No. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Keep building. It's never too late, even for those adults. And actually, I find it's quite therapeutic to kind of, take your mind off everything, either build something from instructions or just have a little go at building something from your own imagination. It can be quite a therapeutic thing to do, to just relax at the end of the day. So there's a phrase in Danish which is leg godt, which is Lego's little motto, and that means play well. So I hope you all play well. There we go.
Thanks, Kaz.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Kaz. It's awesome to see all the kids building and thinking outside the box, rather than just following instructions and, build your own. It's really creative. It's great. Love that. To all the adults, remember this, we look forward to having a more in-depth conversation about Commvault and the NetApp story and how they integrate better together. So please reach out to your reps or Eric and I for more info, and also to receive your $100 Gusto gift card. Thank you again to all of our guests, and thank you to CDW, Commvault, and NetApp for organizing another amazing event. Last year was the first one. This is the second one, and hopefully we can continue, because it's great to see how interactive you can be with your families, and still get a little bit of work done. So I appreciate all of you attending. And, if you guys have any questions, you can stay on, but appreciate everyone and joining, and have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Happy building.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.